Ladies and gentlemen, this is Skip from BK, the host of the Dreams Money Can Buy podcast. And man, this fellow over here, what can I say about this guy? Like, I can say so many things. Like, such an exceptional writer, actor, producer, director. He also tells jokes when he actually has the time, because this man be booked and busy when it comes to the acting. This is a gentleman that I've known for quite some time, and it's been such a pleasure, such an honor to be his peer and just seeing him kind of like evolve in his passion. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kar Logan. Kar, how you doing? I know you came a little late because MTA's trash.
Hey, man. Thanks for the intro, for one. Yeah, man, I was almost going to be here on time, too. It's crazy. You know, the app, let you know, oh, there'll be, a delay on the train or whatever. So now I was like, all right, well, it's telling me I'm going to be running a little late. And I'm one stop away, and then the train just freezes because a door won't open up, so they had to figure that out. And then I looked when it finally started moving, I said, oh, it's giving me the time that I would have arrived here. So, what, did they anticipate that the doors were going to fuck up or something? I don't
That's
know.
some weird, surreal sci-fi shit.
Yeah,
but.
So that was, but yeah, you know, MTA ain't nothing but MTA. MTA going MTA.
That's a fact. So, forget them for a second. We're going to talk about you, talk about your entire journey. Let's start. So your parents are from Sierra Leone, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah,
research.
Get straight to it. Yeah, let's go ahead.
Straight to the research. So their journey is so encompassed with your journey because Sierra Leone, and you were born in D.C., right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I saw there Sierra Leone. I didn't know if you were born there, but you were born here.
No, I probably was born if I recall, I was born a year after they got here.
Okay.
A year after they got here. Yeah, it was a year.
Yeah, you don't have to be exact because that's all on the spot question. So, so for me, it's interesting in my research when I had the three places that kind of in addition to New York City being a critical thing, is Sierra Leone, Washington D.C., and Clinton, Maryland. Right. So I think when it comes to just building up this mythos of Kar, just what are those three places important for your development? Obviously Sierra Leone parents, and then you just grew up in DMV. Let's talk about those two three things.
Yeah, so I feel like I got different experiences, or all three different backgrounds kind of play a hand into stuff that I've done or stuff that I've seen or just experienced and stuff so. I have yet to go to Sierra Leone. I'm disappointing my parents, but I have yet to go. All my little brothers and stuff, my little brothers and my little sister, they've all gone.
That's fucked up.
Already. But I haven't gone yet. So, I mean, yeah, I'll make my way there. I'll make my way. But so there has a lot of backstory with it too. My family, my dad, he was born on the actual day of Sierra Leone's independence from the British. He was born on that day. That's going to be, April 27th, so that's coming up soon. And, they grew up around, the whole, the Blood Diamond thing with, the rebel soldiers and, kids getting their hands and limbs cut off and stuff by soldiers and mining.
Regular shit.
Yeah.
Regular shit.
So they, I remember when my grandmother came and moved over here and started living with us, she would have to be kept up to date on what was going on back home sometimes, or she would tell us certain stuff. I remember when that movie Blood Diamond came out with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jimon Hansu. She wanted to watch it, but then it was it's a little too heavy. So stuff like that kind of echoed in the house. I felt just because of, those experiences kind of shift their outlook on life or how they were moving around over here and stuff. And me being first generation, me being born here, I didn't experience those things, but I always hear the story. So I felt I'm learning or talking about different stuff as a kid than all my other friends or whatever, because they don't get it or they didn't understand it. So that was one aspect of that to me. Growing up in DC, I probably moved to Maryland when I was maybe 11 or something, maybe 11 or 12, I think. But so being born and raised in DC for those years as a kid was definitely fun or interesting for me because, it was a city, it was vibrant. My circle of friends was just different over there and stuff. But for the most part, I grew up in PG. That's in Clinton. Like I would like say just PG County. And that one was when we moved to the suburbs. Like I remember when we actually moved there, my neighborhood was still in development. They were still building it. They were still designing it and stuff. And I remember they told us we were moving to Clinton, Maryland. I was like, the hell is Clinton? Yeah, I'm a kid, so I don't know everywhere in the world and stuff. But like when I would tell people that, hey, yeah, we're moving to Clinton, because I'm thinking that, it's like a popping ass spot. Like I'm thinking everybody's gonna know, like, oh, you're moving to Clinton, but everyone was like, what? You're moving to Clinton? Like, like what is that? Growing up in PG was dope too, because PG is like the richest black, like the most like popping black thriving, county in the U.S. and stuff too. Yeah. So, but the funny thing about that is it's like you got all these like different kids, that are living over here, from different walks, different backgrounds. Like not everybody there was rich, but their parents were like well off. And, there's some people that were just like wilding for respect, doing dumb stuff. So it was just an interesting dynamic there too. You got like, it's like watching like if you're watching like a high school show and you're wondering like, well, what the hell are these privileged kids doing out here wilding and doing dumb shit?
They're just doing random shit because they can.
Yeah, it was like, just, man, I'm telling you, I'm like fights every day after school. Like the stories that happen at that school, you wouldn't believe that it was going on in this like thriving, like, this thriving area and stuff.
So when I looked at when you were in school, you had a dream, well, actually one or two dreams. They were kind of connected. So you wanted to be a video game designer / cartoonist because you were illustrator at the time when you were a kid. So when it comes to school, because obviously you're going to make that transition from these two very visual talents into acting. But when it comes to school, how did that happen that you want to be a video game designer / cartoonist? Like, 'cause that's pretty cool when it comes to just visually creating a world or creating characters.
Man, for me, when I was a kid, all I did was just, like watch TV, draw, play video games. Like, whenever my dad would get home from work, like my dad was like big into video games. So like me and him would always be sitting around playing Sega, playing Nintendo and stuff. And after a while, like as I got older, I just, first I started like writing my own stories and stuff. But I started drawing before that. And I used to just love to draw. Like, I mean, drawing was my thing where, like, if I had something to write with and there was a blank piece of paper there, I'm going to start drawing on it. I'd start drawing on the walls or just, like, I just needed to draw, So eventually, like, when I'm watching cartoons, I'm like, hey, I want to do that. I want to draw comics. I want to draw cartoons. I want to do stuff like that. And that's actually what I started doing in maybe when I was like, I think 12 or 13, probably like 12 or 13, I started drawing my own comic books. And it's funny because I went back to my mom's house a couple months ago and I found all my old comics I used to draw. So I definitely took all those back with me. And I'm definitely going to do something with those. But that's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to make my own cartoons. I wanted to make animation. I wanted to do all that stuff. So then when I'm starting to play video games, and I really got like immersed into video games. Like I was really big into video games back when I was younger. And I was like, oh no, I want to make this. Like this back when there was like E4 TV, like
it was not E4, G4.
Yeah, G4.
When they had like those people that would talk about video games and reviews, and they were getting ready for the expo,
E4,
the E4, E3 expos for the video
that
games.
Joint. Yeah. Like I used to watch that daily, where like I used to play. Like I used to have the walkthrough books. I used to be into tech, all that stuff, and it's like I wanted to make video games. Like when I finally realized, I felt like I understood enough. It was like I want to make video games. I want to be an illustrator I want to do cartoons. Like it kind of like just evolved as I got older. As a kid, it's like, hey, I just want to do cartoons. It's like I wanted to transfer whatever skill I had at that time into whatever I was interested in. Like if I'm interested in cartoons, all right, I got to figure out how I can like turn my art into like moving motion pictures and stuff. If I'm into video games, okay, I got to figure out how I can turn my art into, video games and stuff like that. But as I got older, I kind of like lost a passion for like art. What made me like it was the fact that I was just drawing like on my own time, like if I wanted to draw something, let me draw this picture. But then, it kind of just got like annoying after a while because, there were people that be like asking me to draw stuff for them all the time. But this was like when I was like younger. It's like, oh, can you draw this for me? People like want me to do this and that, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, it's not fun anymore. Like I don't feel like doing this anymore. So it's like I kind of like fell off of that and just drew when I felt like it or when it was like personal to me and stuff like that. And then eventually it just kind of like segued into writing.
So the funny thing is, you were always a writer, because I remember you were saying that when it comes to writing the stories for the comic books, or not just comic books / mangas / anime, all of those together. They're just different names for it, right? And even with the video game, like storyboarding with that, right? So like the premise, or should I say the core skill set that you had in that was just writing. And I think that's just something that since you've been consistently doing that for so many years, even though you don't do like the cartoon and you don't do the video game design, you were learning, like I was saying before, like story building. And I think that's something that you were just saying, like now you're transitioning to writing. How was that in was that junior high school still, high school?
Like, so I've been writing and drawing kind of like at the same time for the same length. But it would just seem that I'm started writing more once I started to fall back from art. So it was like I was still doing both at the same pace, but like once I started to ease up on the art, all you see is the writing. So it looks like I'm writing more, but it's just like no, I'm just doing art less.
Okay.
So it kind of I didn't necessarily like transition that. I just never stopped. I was doing that on the side. So when I got to that point where I realized I just enjoyed writing more, that came from like, because I used to read like crazy. Reading is something I like, shamefully don't do as much as I used to. I do it whenever I get like some free time, but it's hard for me to finish a book these days, man. It's so hard for me to finish a book. Like I'll start, then I'll trail off. But give me like an article, give me like, an essay, even if it's like 20 pages, like article on something like that, like I'll read all that stuff. I'll read, something for research. I'll read all that stuff. But like books these days, sometimes it's hard for me to finish. But I used to read a lot when I was young too. And I used to want to do that because of what I was reading. Like I used to fall in love with the way they were like describing stuff in books, like, of course, I love picture stories, but then once I had to get out of picture stories, then I started finding stuff that helped me paint the perfect picture. It's easy to just have like, okay, like Jack and Jill walks this way and then go over here. But then when you read stuff that's like, Jack takes 2 steps as he breathes, and then he twists the knob, you can see the veins, but like stuff like that or whatever, right? It would get me excited to write because it's like I wanted to write like that. So over the years, I just wanted to improve my writing to sound like that. I wanted to improve my writing to give me the same type of feeling that I felt when I would read stuff. I wanted to give people that. So over the years, it's like I never really. Like like school wasn't the best for me just because I was lazy. Like I got good grades, but after I only got good grades in the stuff that I really cared about, or like art, English, literature, science and stuff like that. But math, I don't know about math, man. Math was just something else completely different.
Yeah, we're gonna just skip over math. Someone else just not good at the math. So it's just good to know that. All right, cool. Because you did mention while you're doing like the video games with your dad, which also cool that he kind of like brought you into that video game culture.
Man, he was big into like my dad was big into video games, sports, and he loved kung fu movies. Like that's where I got my love for like westerns and kung fu movies and James Bond films. Like he got me into like all that stuff, really. Like, and I don't think it was something that it's just like I was exposed to it because he was always playing it. It's not like he's coming like, hey, here, let me just shove these video games in your face instead of like you reading books or whatever. It was just like he's playing video games and I run over there and say I'm about to go play too and stuff like that.
So it was kind of organic. It's not like he was forcing you to do these things. It just happened that you're watching all these movies, you're playing the video games, and you're experiencing all of these things. And it's kind of like in the back of your mind, it's like, yo, I really like this.
Yes,
but this also goes into you when you're doing the art, doing the writing. You're seeing these characters when they're acting. What happens for you when you're writing, creating these amazing visuals? How do you put it to like, I really want to play some of these characters that I'm like depicting on the page? When does that happen? Because you're very visual now with the writing. Mm-hmm. When is that transition of like, all right, I've done the illustration, I've done the visuals, I'm doing the writing, been doing it for years. What makes you go, I want to play some characters in front of a camera, in front of a screen? How does that happen? Because I feel like it's there. Mm-hmm. Like in the back when we're flashing back at your young self. all of those things is like at some point he's gonna get in front of that camera and start acting. It's just he needs to make that connection of you got all the skills right here.
So going back to where I was saying about like, you know, art and writing were two things I was doing like at the same pace, but like I fell back from just art. I feel like acting might have been the same, might have had a lane as well too. Just acting just never moved at all. Like it probably took 2 steps in the lane of, hey, I'd like to do this, because like as a kid, like I said, I'm watching cartoons all the time. Just not even just cartoons. I'm watching Power Rangers. I'm watching a lot of live action stuff. You know, action movies, like hood movies, just like whatever. I'm watching like all these things, and I'm sitting there, you know, and the conversations are so important around like representation and stuff. And for me as a kid, I felt like I didn't. Maybe I didn't have the word for it at that time, me wanting representation or something like that. Because like when the reason why I wanted to be on TV or stuff is because I saw people that looked like me doing the stuff. Like, yeah, even if I saw like white people on there, I still wanted to act too. But then when I saw like, you know, like black kids on TV, that made me so excited. So I used to watch like, you know, Kenan and Kel. I used to like, you know, Fresh Prince. I used to always just like want to emulate the goofy like black guys that was on TV. Like I loved Kadeem Hardison in A Different World. Yeah, I loved Lee Thompson Young and Jet Jackson. I was
thinking like it's knowing you with the actions. Like he's gonna say that name. R.I.P. to
Silverstone.
R.I.P. to him.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace, dog. Yeah, I was sick when I heard that news. Yeah. But yeah, so like that's why. Watching stuff like that always planted that in my head, but I never did anything with it. But watching stuff like that always planted in my head because it's like I would love to do that. You know, like they look like they were just having fun. All the Nickelodeon kids stuff or whatever. It's like I go to Cartoon Network for my cartoons. I go to Nickelodeon for like, you know, my live action, you know, shows and stuff. And it's just I wanted to do it, but I never did anything. So that's why I feel like acting just lay dormant in this lane and didn't really move until high school. It was high school that like I think it really became a goal for me because what happened?
I think you met some friends, or you had like a conversation in one of the classes.
It was this man. What happened? So it was like I started just being a little bit like more goofy and just like a little bit more. Just like out there with, you know, my personality and stuff. And then a friend of mine one time, we were just like hanging out in class. And this goes back to what I was saying where, you know, like our class, like we were good kids, but we were just acting like asses, man. You know, so we're in the art class and we're supposed to be doing work, but everybody's just kind of like bullying the teacher, the art teacher and stuff. So like while that's going on, we're supposed to be doing like artwork and everything. Nobody's doing that. Me and my homie, we're like off in the the corner of the classroom, whatever, with our other table, and we're just like talking about. I forgot what it was. I don't know how the conversation started. Okay, so there was a film. Oh yeah, it was just kind of like an improv type thing. Like we just kind of like just did improv, like just on a whim one time. And it was funny because we ended up into like this like cliched good cop. I mean, not even good cop, but like, you know, wild loose cannon cop getting kicked off the force scene. So we ended up doing that or whatever, right? So I ended up being the police chief and he was the officer. And I don't know how it happened, but I think we just like maybe started laughing about it or making a joke. And then like he started talking and I just like finished it up. And then next you know we're going back and forth.
So y'all doing Brooklyn Nine-Nine before it existed.
We were just going back and forth and shit. We sitting there and then like, you know, I said, McFlanagan, you got to give me your gun. You shot 2 kids in the leg. You got it. You know, I'm just saying stuff like that. And he's like, I'm a damn good cop. You won't kick me off this. And like, we're just doing all this while in the background, like people was like throwing like art supplies around and the teacher trying to like get everybody together. And we're just doing that and stuff. And then like and then like, you know, I tell him, I said, get out of my office. So he gets up and he's like walking out the classroom. And then he looks back at me. I said, you son of a gun. And then it was just, and then after that, yo, we died laughing. And we were just like, yo, you want to be an actor? I was like, I want to be an actor. He was like, yo, let's be actors, so, you know, and then ever since then, like, me and him would just always, you know, just to have conversations, you know, we'd call each other up, we're like, yo, we just gotta fucking, you know, pack our bags and move and go do this. We got to go to these auditions. We got to take the initiative. And like, we just talked about it a lot.
Does he still do acting? Does that friend still do acting?
Yeah. He still does on and off. He does a lot of traveling, a lot too,
okay.
stuff too, you know, because he's a father as well. Okay. But he's been doing like some walk-on roles on some shows and stuff like that. I saw him probably like a couple years ago. He visited New York and stuff. But that was my homie. So ever since then, we both was just like, all right, yeah, we're gonna become actors. And this was like high school, so I think we probably realized this maybe, if it wasn't I want to say it might have been my senior year I graduated 2007. I want to say it was probably, like around the year 2006, 2007, where I like really decided, said, no, I think I want to act now. I want to act.
So now it's a passion. So you were joking around, and it's kind of cool when you kind of flash back to that story where even though y'all doing improv, y'all were both kind of like directing in a way without directing. Like y'all going back and forth, feeling chemistry. All that.
Because we had a film class too, actually.
Yeah.
Like back then, we had like one of those like film, like audio visual classes or whatever, the AV things. And I was so excited because I only saw those classes on TV. You know, like I was like, oh shit, we have like a film class. Like, oh, I can't wait. So we actually, I remember we got put in groups, and me and my homie ended up being put in a group together, and we was like, yo, let's make that movie that we were acting out in art class. So we actually tried to make that movie. It was called John Never Die. I got the VHS tape. I found it with,
oh my god, you got to make it digital.
I found the VHS tape with along with those like comic books I used to draw and stuff. So yeah, we had like the video class, and we had to like act it out, and we had to learn how to like edit the trailer for it and stuff. So I that was our first time learning how to edit, and the equipment. This was back in like 2006, 2007 or whatever. So the equipment was like mad. Oh, you had to like rewind stuff and like twist stuff here and do all these fun, because we had to use VHS tapes to make it and stuff. But that was fun when that was like our first movie. That was probably like our first home movie that we made, I guess, that me and my group made for that one.
So you guys are like 17, 18 when you did this, right? Or 16, 17?
Yeah, about like 16, 17.
So you made your first movie for class. And that's important to note. Regardless of how successful it was, it's still an experience, whereas like you even saying like the, post-editing or whatever you had to do for like the trailer and stuff like that. Again, these are like the pieces where we start looking at the story of the journey. It's like, all right, Kar's eye is starting to like manifest more.
Like a memory lane thing right now.
But it's like when you're looking at it, like now we're doing like this whole epic flashback like we're doing right now, but we're building it up to the present, where it's like, all right, cool. You've done the illustration, you've done the video games, you've done like the visual part. So like even you're doing like storyboard, start similar to Parasite. What's his name?
The Bong, the director. Yeah, let me not get his name wrong. I'm not
going to get his name wrong because he won some things. Bong John, who? I don't know if I'm saying his name right. If you guys listen to this and butcher me, just flame me for it, but I'm doing my best to make sure I get his name right. But his storyboarding was similar to like the illustrations you do for the comic books, like things. So he's just like, he would draw out the characters interacting with each other. So I just find it fascinating. Like, I know you, but like this is like actually seeing the creative side. Like, yo, this is dope that we're going through this from like 5. Now we're at your teenage years. We're gonna soon get to like your college years and moving up to New York. But it's good to like make those little bookmarks where it's like, yo, key skill. Like when it's like a video game, key skill learned here, key skill learned here, key skill learned here. Before he's like leveling up. So all right, you made your first movie. You're really serious about this. You went to college in
Did I go to college?
You did go to college. I don't know if I listed it down. I think I let you on it because you're very...
I graduated 2007, and I went to college, I think, like the following year or the other year. And I went to community college for about like a semester or 2, and then I just stopped going.
Because you were just like, I don't need to do this.
But also I just didn't know what I was going to school for exactly, because like I knew I wanted to act, like I knew I wanted to write, I knew I wanted to act. Like I wrote my first script when I graduated 2007.
Awesome.
And that was based off a story, another story that I came up with when I was a kid, when I was younger. That was just another story that just lived in my head a lot or whatever. So like, I'm writing this script. I made it up in my mind that I want to act, so I'm like, okay, I just want to be into entertainment and movies and stuff. And, I had that whole mindset of like, I don't need to go to school for this or blah, blah, blah. And then it, turned into, I'm just going to take a break off of school for a while. So I did take a theater class when I was in
community college.
Yeah, I took like a theater 101 class, and it was cool. I liked that one. I did like Romeo and Juliet in there. It was like me and this girl that I think we were like the. I don't know, the class was kind of weird if I think about it now. I think the class was kind of weird. But I think like me and her were like the only like, like normal cool ones, or at least we were the teacher's favorite. Cause like at first like we were all like, like shy and meek and like weird doing Romeo and Juliet. And then the teacher, she tried so hard to open us up and get us to open up and stuff. And she was like, oh my God, you guys did great. You guys did great. And I was like, all right, good. I don't need no more training. That's I'm good. I'm like, I don't need no more.
Okay, so she's just like, yeah, you guys are all nice. And she's just like, all right, cool. It's like, yeah, we got this. Like, it's like, are you kind of like, do we? Because it's like, you said you and that young lady were like the only normal cool kids. I guess everyone, some of these people probably were like super overindulgent with the theater thing, so they're probably trying too hard instead of just letting it happen naturally or something like that.
Yeah, it was just like it was a weird experience. I feel like because I feel like everybody was a character. In there. But eventually, after that, I felt like, I want to do this. I'm over here talking. And around this time, this is when I'm like, I was just like partying all the time with my friends or whatever, right? So I started, falling into like this mind state of, if I want to do stuff, I'm going to do it now. So like there'd be times me and my friends talk about traveling or moving someplace or going someplace or whatever. So for me, a lot of times like, New York came up. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, New York's up the street. I used to come to New York a lot as a kid with my family. So I'm like, I could go to New York and go, hit up some auditions. I could go act. I can go, start my career or something like that. But again, those are just like thoughts in my head. Because around this time, my friend Brian, he became a father at that time, so he was a little, like occupied.
His obligations changed. So,
yeah,
it's like you guys were both like the young, like 16, like I'm trying to do this, and now he's getting a little older, and it's like, all right, now we're like our early 20s, and it's like,
Yeah, I was like I don't even think I was 20 yet. I was because I stopped going to community college. I think I was like 19. Yeah, I think it was like 19 is when I stopped going. So I stopped going there, and then I wanted to take a break off from school, and that didn't go.
Parents were not happy.
They was not like my father didn't. He didn't trip too much because my father never finished college, and he just always was just kind of like, I mean, honestly, when he got to a certain point of understanding and stuff, he was like, school just isn't for everybody. He was just like, school isn't for everybody, and that's kind of like how I felt. Like when I look back on it, I haven't liked school since I was a kid. I loved activities like, hey, we get to draw today. We get to do art or anything that expressed my creativity. I liked and shit. But other than that, I mean, I did learn some great lessons, like some great history lessons that I love, geography lessons, science lessons and stuff. But other than that, I'm like, I did how many years of school? I don't want to do another 4 after I graduate high school. So my dad didn't trip too much, but my mom definitely wasn't rocking. She was not with the shit. She was
like, nah, if you're in this house, you're going to have to like do that. So
basically she was not fucking with it.
What is that transition from PG to New York? Like that is in itself, like that chapter. How did you even make that transition up here?
That one was a bit of a doozy. Like, so around, so I tell you, I stopped going to school. So that would have been like around maybe 2008 or 9 that I probably stopped. So for like the next year or so, it wasn't looking good for me. Things, me and my mom were getting along because of that and stuff. My dad, him and my mom like divorced around that time. So then like he moved out. So then, it was just like me and my mom getting into it. And I realized, hey, I wasn't doing anything anymore. Like I had jobs and stuff, but I either like quit them after a while, and I tried, because like at one point I had like 3 jobs, and like I was living somewhere else. I had like an apartment with my boy's older brother. And then it was like after a while I just wasn't doing anything, after a while I wasn't doing nothing. I wasn't in school anymore. I went to like a computer program for like some trade school, stuff like that, and I never finished the program. So there I go.
It's
I'm
just
not doing shit.
because you're not passionate about them. Like you were saying, you did well in things you love, but you're
Yeah.
doing things that you're lukewarm about. I was like, I don't really care.
Yeah, like I did that trade school thing for like IT skills. I mean, the IT skills did help me get some jobs when I moved to New York. But other than that, like I didn't really care about a lot of stuff. Like I fell off of tech. I didn't care about tech anymore. I stopped, playing video games and everything like that. So I just felt like just wanted to write and act like that. That's just all I wanted to do. So here I am. I moved to New York like 2012. So I said I stopped going to school like around
Until
like
2008. So there's 4 years of you just finding your way.
Yeah, for like, I probably stopped school like 2008 or 2009. That's when I stopped there. So then that's like 2010, 2011. Yeah, so for about 2 years, maybe like 2 years of just me sitting around. All I'm doing is just out drinking and partying with my friends. I mean, I'm just drinking every fucking day. We party and I'm getting in a car accident. So I'm over here just wilding, not doing this. I mean, I'm trying to get a job, but it was like hard for me to get a job. So it's like I'm sitting around not really doing anything. So I needed to change the pace. And, I couldn't like deal with my mom no more. Me and her was like blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right, you know what? Let me try something new. Let me like start over. Let me get all my stuff together. Let me, get this shit together. And my cousin was up here in New York, and he had hit me up and let me know, was like, I ain't seen him in years actually, and things weren't the best for me at the time. So when I called him up, he was just like, bruh, just come up to New York. I'm up here at the Art Institute. Just come here, man. We'll help you find a job. Just come. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, I ain't got shit else up here. Like, I don't got a job. I'm not in school. I'm just in my mom's house. I need to get away for a while and stuff, blah, blah, blah. So, like, I just left. Like, nobody even knew where I was. Like, I just, like, left. People didn't know until, like, the next, like, month or whatever or so when I just post on Instagram that I, photo of me in New York. And they were like,
surprise.
You went to, they're like, what? You moved? They was like, what? So that's where I was. And I just, since I came over here, I started just applying for jobs, and I started hitting up like casting calls on like the internet. I started doing all the research, how to find casting stuff, how to get into this, how to get into that, how to get into this. And that's how I just finally just really, it wasn't until I moved to New York that I really got into acting, because then I started getting a lot of background work, so I moved here 2012, 2013, 14 was when I really started like getting some good stuff after that. I started meeting people. I'm staying at the Art Institute. I'm surrounded by a bunch of film students.
Yeah, you're just right in the thick of it. So now
Exactly.
you're around people that are kind of like with the similar
Yeah,
energy.
like I feel like I'm
passionate.
around like a tribe or whatever,
No, keep going.
Oh, sorry. No,
I was just checking.
I feel
checking
like
the
I'm
volumes.
around. I feel like I'm around like a tribe or whatever. Of all I'm doing is sitting around talking, movies. I'm talking about the stuff that I want to do. We're talking about acting, and then so that's that. So I just started doing that. Like I would find a place. Like I'm looking for a job on the side, and I did get some jobs. Like I ended up getting a job with the city for a little bit, like a contract job. With those skills, with those IT skills that I learned at the IT program that I was in, which I didn't finish either, by the way. I didn't finish that program either. So, like, I didn't finish community college. I didn't finish that IT program. But I was able to still transfer the skills that I learned from those experiences into, finessing a job out here and stuff like that. And then after that, that's really just what it's been. It's just been a balance of me working and then still going to auditions. Like, I started getting some good like walk-on roles and stuff. Like I got that show, The Nick. I got Boardwalk Empire. I got I just started getting like a lot of like roles, walking on stuff on sets, and those are just great experiences. But I didn't just let that stay there. Like I figured out how I could use this experience to something else. I'm like, all right, let me network with somebody. Let me talk to somebody here. Let me make some friends. Let me meet people and stuff. Because also, I'm fresh in New York. I need to build like my own network too.
Your own tribe.
Yeah,
outside
because like all my friends is back in Maryland. All my friends is back in Maryland. I got just my cousin and like his friends up here. But then eventually, eventually like my cousin and his friends, like we all got a place together and stuff, but eventually they all kind of like moved out. They all like moved, spread out here. So then now I'm in New York alone again, basically. And then from there it was like, all right, well, let me go ahead and keep acting. Let me keep this up, figure out like what's up next for me, how I can do this stuff myself, because after a while, I was able to just transition all that stuff into just,
I think when it comes to, so you've been here from 2012, we're in 2020. So that's 8 years
I've been
of grinding.
8 years.
And like the first half was like, you're doing the background work, you're getting some cash here and there. But I think still you can just look at acting. I remember you said this in an interview, like you said in the previous interview that acting felt like a step parent, And that was kind of like hilarious to think about when you was like, in addition to your parents, like acting definitely kind of helped mold you to be like, son, move this way. Kind of like some type of Mufasa voice. Like, yes, move this way. Like, don't go this way, but move this way. Yeah. And I think you said in like a lot of your interviews where you were just tired of being in the background. It's cool now you're getting experience, but it's like you wanted media roles. You wanted to do that. And like you were saying in the beginning of this interview, representation. Like you wanted, when you're watching things with Nick, it's like, I'm seeing these black kids and these other, background kids here. They have roles. So I know they exist.
Yeah,
Where are the roles that I can get them, right? So when you're talking about that, when did you start clicking where it's like, all right, man, time for me to make my own shit?
Oh man, that one. So let's see. That happened when I came to New York, and I really am thankful for the move to New York and everything, because it really just certain experiences out here, certain things just really shifted my mind, or just reminded me of like, all right, nigga, hold up. This is what it's really about to be like for you. You know what I mean? So I am like, even before I moved to New York, I remember like my boy that I used to talk to all the time, my boy Eddie. We would sit down and talk about like, my scripts and me, like they knew I wanted to make movies and act and everything like that, but he would always remind me like, hey, it's gonna be hard for you as a black actor in there too, or whatever. Like my scripts that I'd write scripts based off of our friendship, like me and my friends growing up and how we used to hang out and the stuff that we used to get into or whatever. And we're all black or whatever, right? But the scripts and stuff, he was like, man, Hollywood going to try and like, probably whitewash your script, because it's not a hood movie. Because, I didn't write like a hood movie based on us. He was like, it's not a hood movie or nothing. So they probably going to whitewash it. And I was just always thinking to myself, I said, damn, dog, you're right. All right. Like I used to get so nervous about that, right? So, but I kind of took that thought away. That thought came back up when I'm finally in New York now, and I'm doing this acting and a lot of the background work. So a lot of my acting stuff came from backgrounds at first. And I think, it was all like period pieces, or like, hey, we need black people in the background. Like they didn't just need people in the background, they needed black people in the background, and it's not like, it was like, yeah, we need people for this 1820 scene or this 1940 scene. Who's okay with getting an old 1940s haircut style and stuff like that. So it was cool for a while, but then it was like, one was like the last straw for me. It was, I was on Boardwalk Empire. It was Boardwalk Empire, and I had a scene with Michael K. Williams. And
amazing actor.
He's cool, man. It was dope. So it was like the final season, and I don't know, I forgot what it was, but it was like a chain gang scene that I was in there, and they all putting in our prisoner clothes and stuff. I said, all right, cool. They bring out the props and everything. So then they go ahead and like latch, shackles on our ankles or whatever, right?
Wow. So this is super real.
Yeah, but like they were real shackles apparently. They weren't like fake. They weren't plastic. They weren't like, wood or something.
Oh, this is real metal.
Yeah, I'm like,
oh, this is too real.
I'm like, these feel a little real. It's like, yeah, we didn't have like fake shackles or whatever. I'm like, so you guys had real shackles, like just lying around? You guys can make dinosaurs on TV, but you guys can't make fake shackles. Okay. So they put those on us, and I'm like, we had to do our scene where we're running and doing this stuff, and bro, they were so uncomfortable.
Wow.
And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, I couldn't do this for the 12 hours we had to shoot today or anything like this. So I couldn't imagine just like actual slaves that had to wear shackles and everything. So I'm just sitting there, I'm like, yo, is this what my acting career is about to be like out here or whatever? I was like, nah, I gotta take a step back for a little bit. So after that, I realized myself, I've like I said, I wrote my first script 2007, but I've always been writing since I was younger than that. I'm in New York now. I've made my connections and hung out with these film students at the Art Institute, or just people that I've met that have cameras and they want to film stuff. And I'm like, okay, I know, or at least I feel as though I can act, and I know, or at least feel as though I can write really well. And I know people with the equipment, so why don't I just go ahead and just start doing this? So, so I started writing like my first script that I wrote was a feature-length script. That was my very first script I wrote, so I didn't really know what I was doing, though, but I ended up writing like 180-something pages of that.
Damn.
I've been working on that script since. That was 2007.
You did talk about that. So that's like the everlasting first masterpiece.
Yeah, but only because it's like every year I've rewritten it. Like, and then sometime I've took like some years off, like those years where I wasn't doing shit back home and I was like bullshitting around, just drinking all the time. Those are years I took off from writing it. But, but anyway, I say that. So I wrote another script, and that's eventually what became Five Knives. So I wrote that because I was like, I can write, I can act. Let me just do this. So I started writing different ideas for scripts. What some type of short films that I wanted, because I'm used to writing feature length stuff. I didn't get into short films until I saw that was really like a culture out here in the film thing, like short web shorts and stuff. Like I just got put on the Awkward Black Girl maybe like right before I moved to New York, because I think they were looking for writers at the time or something. So one of my friends had put me onto it. So from there, I just wanted to just write my own stuff at that point. I said, all right, let me go ahead and create my own narrative. Let me take control of this real quick. So then I just started, like linking up with my guys and stuff. Like, my boy Tito was one of the people that I first met when I came out here. Yeah, man, he shot all my stuff, man, shout out to him. I met him out here and, I told him about Five Knives actually. And I didn't write it yet, but I was just always talking about it. And then, when I said that everybody moved away and like I was left in New York alone, he hit me up one day because he was out Cali going to film school, and he hit him up and he was like, "Hey, yo, that story that you was telling me about, that script I did, you had Five Knives, like, do you got it still? Because I want to shoot that for you, So I was like, all right, cool, So I finally wrote it out, but I changed the whole premise of it to make it shorter. Yeah,
to make it like a very concise
make it easier for him to film too, whatever, because everything that I wrote was like feature film shit. I'm gonna have like all the stuff that we weren't gonna be able to get.
You're talking like big name cameras, big name all these things.
Like stuff that we weren't gonna be able to get. So I made it easier for him to film and everything. So I wrote it, gave him the script, he filmed it out there like around like maybe like 2014. Okay. That's probably when he filmed it out there. And then, he filmed it and came back, but then like, incident happened, like his equipment got, like taken or whatever. So then we had to reshoot the whole thing. So at that point,
when he filmed it out there, if it was in Cali, but when you shot it, because most of the people I see in the one that's posted up has you and other people, that's the reshoot.
That's the reshoot.
But were you in the first one in Cali?
Nah, I didn't, because he was in there. I was in New York when he filmed it, and I let him I just gave him the script. I let him take care of it or whatever. I didn't want to act in it, which is kind of weird. I said I wanted to do. I started to write my own stuff so I could be in it. Like I saw myself in it, but at the same time, I was like, nah, I kind of want to direct this as like my first like thriller or horror thingy. Like, I kind of want to direct that. So I want to direct other people in this one. Like there's certain times I want to be in my own stuff, and there's certain times I don't want to be in my own stuff.
So for this one with Five Knives, right? Mm-hmm. You're not only acting, but you're directing it, right?
Yeah, man.
And I know that's hard as fuck.
Man, that shit was so annoying, dog. Just because it's like that was my first time acting, directing at the same time, and like I can do it better now with what I know now, but at that time I was like, yo, because I'm busy worried about myself, but then I got to make sure everybody else kind of like got their lines together, or and I'm not behind the camera or stuff, which is another reason why it's like I wanted to just not be acting. I want to be able to look and see, get the shot, stuff like that or whatever. So, but it was a learning curve for me. Shout out to Five Knives. That was my first, my first thing that I shot, like the first thing that I wrote and shot with everybody.
It came out like 2015, 2016, I think, for you.
It came out 2017. 2015 is when we shot the reshoots.
Okay,
we shot the reshoot at the end of 2015.
But it was released publicly.
2016 was when it was like in post production and everything, and then 2017 is when it was released publicly.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, all right. So, like I be taking my time with stuff sometimes, but a lot of times, it's other outside forces. Fucking shit up.
Externalities. Okay.
Yeah.
So I like to always do like the whole not really real quick 30-second recaps, but it's just Sierra Leone, Washington, D.C., Clinton, Maryland, PG County. We struggle. Little kind of like you lost yourself moment. Like, if you remember from like Hancock when he was just like, he's like,
I felt like that nigga. I felt like him minus superpowers.
He's like, fuck out my face, type of shit. And then now it's just like, all right, I know what I got to do now. I'm here. I had someone just to help me. Shout out to your cousin that like gave you that safe space to like be around people that were similar to you, that kind of like brought you back to being who you were. Been grinding. 5 Knives. Now let's talk about these other projects, because I have a list of all of them. And how I'm going to do this is I have a list of some of the series that you've been on, some of the shows and stuff. I want to say how you felt when you're in these, because all the characters that you're playing are completely different, and I'm going to list by your credits and just see how it is, right? So let's start from, I'm putting in order of like when you appear in them. Okay. Right? So, ready? So Beyond All, what is that? How was that?
Beyond All was, that was my first, that was one of my first shorts that I got casting out here, because like I said, I didn't even have headshots yet, so I had a roommate like take a photo of me, and I just been using that. I didn't have a reel or anything yet, so I didn't have a lot of stuff to go off of, so I just had to, actually use my like acting talent, like I had to act or whatever, but I also didn't have any real training yet. So that was a student film. A guy, Isaac, was going to NYU at the time. He cast me in it. It was me and another guy that were in it, and I originally went for the role of the older brother, but me looking younger than it's crazy. The guy that plays my older brother in the movie is actually younger than me. But so we did that as a little switch. But it was cool because we did this film thing. It was like this film about the sons of this disgraced cop. And
look at you in cop stories.
Like he was the son of a disgraced. They're the sons of a disgraced cop, and they kind of had to like, just survive without him. It was like a family drama. So that was dope because when I got cast, I got flown out to North Carolina. So that was my first time flying out for a role. So we go out there, me and the dude, we stay at the hotel, everything is good, we film, and we had to go back again for like reshoots and stuff. So then he hits me up. So then finally, I think I hit him up or whatever to ask about the film. Like, hey, how's the film going? Or, could, get footage from my reel or something like that. And he let me know, like, hey, hey, Kar, thanks for reaching out. The film's doing good right now. Just let you know, we just, got accepted in the Cannes and whatever. And I was
Matt subtle. Matt subtle.
My dumb ass, like, I don't know what it was, why something didn't click in my head or whatever. So, like, he said that. I said, oh, word, that's great. That's what's up. I took it just like that. And, I put my phone down, go back to what I'm doing.
But you didn't realize.
And then, I go, like, on Twitter and shit. And I remember I hop up on Twitter. I was like, oh, yeah, the film that I just did just got in Cannes. And everyone's writing me like, nigga, what? And I'm just like, oh shit! I'm like, oh shit!
You're putting it together because it's like, yo, cancer is a big deal when it comes to the film. So he said it mad casual to you. Did he say like?
No, it was through text, and so
you can't feel it.
Yeah, so I don't think I accepted like or understood the gravitas of it or whatever. So I was just like, oh, because I remember I was telling Scylla at the time. I told Scylla, I said, oh yeah, the film that I was in just got in the can. She said, what? I'm just like, oh, Cannes. Yeah. Oh, duh. Yeah, so that was dope. So that was like that, and that was like one of my first short film roles. So that was dope that, it ended up getting selected for a Cannes nomination or whatever and stuff. So that was cool. I can say that I was in a Cannes film on my resume.
Look at you. And that was the first one. So what about this is weird spelling. So it's supposed to be activist, but it has
activist.
That hyphen. Right?
That was the first web series I got cast in, I think, or one of the first web series I got cast in. When did I can't remember the year. It might have been like 2016 or something for that one. I can't remember. But yeah, that was it was a walk-on role. I was playing someone. It was fun. I had to go out to Boston for that one.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. That was another out-of-state thing. It was cool. Everybody was nice. It was like, these college kids, they were, like white, ready for like, change.
Oh, hope, optimism,
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah, it was a web series of the woke whites. It was cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
The woke whites.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
Okay. So first one, North Carolina, right? Was
Yeah.
it a major city like Raleigh or something like that? What was it?
Nah,
Probably like one of those indie colors.
It might have been close to Raleigh. I think it might have been close to that.
And
Yeah,
then
so I went to North Carolina, then Boston.
Boston. So Born Assassin. What is that for you?
That was. I think that was my first or second hood. That was my second hood joint. I think I did.
Hood joint.
Yeah,
I feel like
that was
low key, you just want me doing some hood things in addition to the classic stuff.
I think that's what's going to
be
happen. I think that's what's going to happen. So I had to go out to Bronx for that one, which was so funny because both those were, I think, back to back, Born Assassin and the Boston joint.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I remember I was telling my boss at the time, I was like, yeah, I gotta go shoot this film, man, but it's all the way in the Bronx. And I gotta go shoot this one thing, but it's in Boston, so that's cool. She was like, wait, so
did you what?
She said that in her words, she was like, that was like some New York shit or whatever, where it's like you have no problem with going to Boston or whatever, out of state for something, but going to the Bronx is too far for you.
You quickly became a New Yorker, so all right, we're following. So Born Assassin was in the Bronx.
Yeah, that was in the Bronx. I was playing like, this dude's like right-hand man, his like henchman, right-hand man type shit. Yeah, that was cool.
So is that when he was like in the reels, because these are the first couple, is that the one where you had like the gun and you were just
Nah, that was a different one.
All right, I don't know if I'm going to get to Was that X-Crisis? Is that the one with the gun?
Nah, the one with the gun was Only Strong Survive. That one came first.
Ooh, I missed that. That wasn't on your...
Oh, I probably didn't add that one on.
Okay, cool, because
Only the Strong Survive. That might have been probably before or after the Cannes film. And that one was another student film. And I remember getting cast in that one. That was cool. That's where I met my guy Dave, who no, it's actually not how I met him. It's a funny story how I met him. Actually, that's a whole different story. But I cast him in. We ended up on the same project. So the one that you're talking about, where I had the gun out on dude and shit like that. Yeah, that was the Only Strong Survive.
Okay.
Where I played this just young corner dude. I played this like young corner dude, and selling drugs and shit. And then I got robbed, and I tried to go rob the guy back, and I see that he has a family and stuff, and I have a change of heart or whatever, like a bitch. And then
so it's like your money's still gone.
Yeah, I was like, your money's still gone, dude. Like, So then at the end, they like team up to go ahead and like rob the next man or whatever and stuff.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that was cool. It was my first joint with a gun. I had the prop gun there and shit. So that was cool.
So we're going right back, because in this one, I put this in bold. There's 5 Nines, there's situationships, and there's Wingmen, right? So we talked about 5 Nines from like you actually doing like the acting and directing, but I know it was tedious with that. Like, just talk about those 3, and I feel like they're not super connected, not like the same universe, because that's situationships and Wingmen. Get to it. Everyone's asked about that. But this is when you're starting to build like your community. You know, this is what I'm seeing. Because 5 Nines, you had yourself, you had Scylla. Shout out to Scylla. She was in another episode. And Eric Hart, and just other people that you're consistently working with, either at some point of this project or another project. You're building that. How does that feel? With like, you're on set, you're building these people that you're going to start working with a lot more intimately over the years. How's that going with the 5 Nines situationships?
That feels great, because like when I really, so back in like high school time, whatever, when I said I wanted to do the acting and stuff, like when me and my boy realized that we wanted to act, there was this channel that they used to have. I don't think they got the channel no more, but it was called the Reels channel. And it was just like movie trivia, movie facts.
Oh,
shows.
I know what you're talking about. Like those random fun facts. Oh, this happened in this movie, or someone was doing this.
And then it was like just shows dedicated to like actors' backgrounds and how they got started and their biographies. So I used to watch that all the time or whatever, right? And then it wasn't until, like I'm making my own stuff and I realized, I low-key have those stories that they're having, all these like Kid and Play and Martin and like Salt and Pepper all worked at the same call center back in the day and stuff or whatever, right? And then you see a lot of these people still work with each other. See a lot of these people still work in the same fields, like like I like to call them the Black Pack back in the day, where you had like the Bill Bellamy's in the same movies with the Vivica Foxes and stuff all that time. You know what I mean? And it's like me doing that. I'm like, I feel like that we're all gonna be places like Tito's going to take off, Scylla's taking off, I'm taking off. My boy Dave is in all my projects too as well. It's like I keep working with the same people, and I want to like keep rotating it. Like I love to work with new people, but I also still love to give them the shot too, because that was the main idea of me creating my own content. You know what I mean? To give us an opportunity, because we're not getting the opportunities that we want. I'd be running to the same people. Like I used to run into Scylla all the time at auditions or whatever. You know, like, I think this is before me and her got together. Like I would just run into her at auditions a lot. I'd run into my boy Dave at the same auditions. Like the circle of black actors is small. You know, when you go into auditions, you would run into the same people back in the day. So that's where like it came from, me creating the space so we can all use them. So it's like, if I got to keep using y'all again, like if I see if I see something that's necessary for you to be in it, like come through again. You know, so that's fun for me.
Okay, because I know I'm not trying to like brush over it just for the listeners, just because it's so much of people asking them about like, and you listen to Scylla's episode with like situationships. There's so much. We don't need to talk about it. Like, not it's not important, but like those are important chapters where it's like situationships is hers, Wingmen is yours. So we can touch on it a little bit, but I don't want to get caught up because there's a lot of other things that people need to know about you. But what I find fascinating with Wingmen, and I was able to do some background work with you too. I don't know why as a kid I was watching the show, but I was watching Cheers.
Cheers was so fucking dope.
And it's like as a kid I was like, used to like what's his name? The main character.
Ted Danson character?
Yeah, I was like, yo, I don't even drink, but it's like just seeing like these adults having this conversation.
Same thing. It's like I'm watching I don't know what it was about Cheers that was appealing as a kid. I don't know. But as an adult watching it now, watching it now as an adult, it's like, yo, this was quality TV back in the day, dog. This is like, I remember it's on Netflix now, so I just be watching the episodes of shit.
Oh, so I didn't know that. Okay.
You didn't know that?
I didn't.
Bro, go
appreciate you.
Son, they got all the seasons on there. Like, just I was watching. The problem is back in TV, they were making all those episodes so shit could get syndicated. So it's like 25 episodes a fucking season. It's like 10 seasons. Yeah. So that's a lot of fucking shit. Whew. But luckily, they're all just like 20, 30 minutes long. It's not that many episodes of hour-long TV. Otherwise, but Cheers is definitely dope as hell, and that's kind of like where I was going for when I wanted to do Wingmen.
Because Wingmen, you combined it. I don't want to say just black culture, because we don't get to see us in like those intimate settings in TV shows. I know maybe the closest that we have, kind of. I mean, for the guys is Ballers, but that's because of The Rock.
I would say Atlanta.
Actually, yeah, Atlanta. With,
I said Atlanta. Yeah.
With
I didn't even know Ballers was still on.
No, it's finished. Actually, Atlanta with Childish Gambino. Oh, his proper name. Donald Glover, Lakeith Stanfield, and he's in the movie.
Brian Tyree Henry.
Yeah, Brian Tyree. Exceptional characters, and just seeing the interaction with the characters. And you recently at this time. Finished season 1 of Wingmen. You're already, going to be planning the next stages. And I think for that is you are part of so many platforms that are just, situationships building careers. Like, Scylla and your friends over there, you have like that cool cameo in there, and then you go to your thing of Wingmen, and just a lot of the topics that you guys talk about in your respective platforms that are like real things. And I just want people to watch those things. Season 1 and season 2 of Situationships up. Season 1 of Wingmen is up on a handful of platforms. When you type in, you'll find those things. Yeah. I just think it's really impressive that you're making these things into reality. And this is all from a young man that was playing video games with his dad, that was drawing, and it's like, yo, I'm trying to make these video games. And you're making visual stories. They're not video games. They're not interactive things, but they are like engaging people in such a way that it's just like, yo, this is cool, Kar. Like, Theo, I feel him, man. I feel him. I understand why he be doing this. With Scylla's character with, what's the character's name? Is it
Melody?
Yeah, I was thinking Mel. I was about to say Mel. I was like, that's not the name. That's part of the name. But
yeah, it's like, as it just, because I feel as though I've never gotten like professional training on a lot of stuff. You
never really gone to acting classes. You kind of like learned this.
I just started acting classes this year.
Wow.
In 2020, this is my first time going to acting classes.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Like, I just got some headshots. I'm about to do acting classes right now. Like, I did a couple courses, and I'm just trying to find the time to get into it because them joints ain't cheap. But at the same time, I just got to make time for it and everything. So it's like, I've never had like professional training on acting or writing. A lot of the stuff I feel as though I did stage plays I did my first stage plays in New York too. I did like maybe like 3 or 4 off Broadway ones.
Yeah, one of them was from one of our friends that actually was a part of Wingmen in the back.
Yeah, Diamond.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah,
and
Diamond. David, shout out to her.
And you were crushing it in one of the lead roles.
Man, that was a good one for me because I saw her because I remember her from like casting or for Wingmen, and then we followed each other on the internet, and she put out a casting call, or she just said it was like an urgent call. She said, "Hey, I need somebody to act in this role." But I remember she mentioned how like a lot of guys were a little like apprehensive about the role at first and stuff. So I'm thinking to myself, so like like what is it? I need a challenge. I want to do like I already did some stage plays right before hers. I did like 2. They were my first ones, and I got great reception from them. I only did stage plays again because they kind of gassed me up. They were like, "Yo, you did great," and I like in doing stage plays like how I used to draw with a pen because I used to draw with pencil. And I used to draw with pen. As I got older, I left pencil and just went to pen. And something about pen, my artwork came out better with that because there was no room for error.
Yeah.
So I would just either take my time with it or go with the flow of it and just like whatever came out on here is what it is, and let me just tighten it up and do this and that. That's how I do like stage plays because like me acting and like camera work and stuff like that, you can say cut, I can start over. But when you're on stage, no room for error.
You gotta make it count.
Yeah, so I think that's why I've done like so good at those too. So I did that, and that prepared me for like Diamond's play. So Diamond's looking for somebody to cast in her thing because like I guess she had trouble finding some guys to play in there. So I go ahead and hit her up. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll take it. And she said, "You sure?" I was like, "Yeah." At that point, I was like, "Oh shit, I'm about to do some gay shit or whatever." I don't know, but she was like, "Go ahead and then go for it." So I look at the script and I was like, "Oh, this is actually pretty cool." Like it was a really dope. So it was like just this relationship between this guy and his and his wife, and like she has a kid and he didn't want the kid, and it was like a lot of just wild shit. So,
okay, so like the intensity of the topic.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of dudes were probably like afraid to do it too. So I get it. They probably didn't want to look a certain way, didn't want to look maybe like abusive or anything like that or whatever. So and I got it too though, because a lot of my roles, I'm over here screaming at women. I'm over here like doing this and that. So I'm like, but the writing was so well, like the writing was so well done. So I was like, I'm gonna do it, like so it was written well. It was dope as hell. So I had fun doing that play. Yeah, shout out to her. Yeah,
shout out to Diamond. And this is all for you just not having training. And it's just what's exceptional about it, not some type of like prodigy story or whatever. But it's just like you've kind of like thrown yourself into it like wholeheartedly when it comes to just doing some theater, doing like TV work, doing like some film work. I want to talk about, all right, cool. So we're making your own black pack. So making all that stuff. In the meantime, you're doing some touches here and there and other things like adulting, the circle, which is Tito, right?
Yeah, Tito.
That's Tito's.
He went ahead and did on his own project as well. I've just been trying to get back in there.
So it's crazy because like your character in that, he was like he's like a techie. He's a tech guy, right? And it's funny because growing up, you used to be a tech guy.
I used to be a tech guy. So it's like I'm so out of tech now where it's like I can't even believe I used to be so like deep into it, like, but now it's just okay. So how you do that again? Or
so you sound like the old person now. It's like I don't know.
That's just me being lazy though. For real, like I can get into it. It's just I just be so lazy with it. Like that's just all it is. Like if I want to know something, I'm gonna be a pro at it, or I'll know it.
And it's still going into that like adulting, the circle, appropriate culture. Like your credits, from like top to bottom when it comes to the film, right, and it comes to the stage. You're quietly like amassing a lot of things, and I'm not sure if when you ever get to like whatever that 1 year or 2 year acting program where it's like this is all for you just hungry. Imagine when you have like the more fine skills.
Yeah.
Like, are you excited for that? Because like not only that, because you've been directing since you were like younger, the producing. Like I'm so excited to see like your next step with like the challenges of like elevating your vision. Because I thought you were trained. You know what I'm saying? Like I never got to ask you this, and it's like when I looked at it, it's like, I don't see if he has like an acting program on his thing. I didn't know that.
Nah, like I just now put like I've never really had any. I had that Theater 101 class, and when I went to community college. But other than that, I never really had proper training, and I do feel like that's one thing I have been missing or lacking, which is why I'm finally doing it now. Because it's like, whether I'm lacking or not, I do at least want that on my resume. I want to learn new techniques because I feel as though all the acting that I do sometimes comes from, like place of method acting or just me, trying to freestyle or go with it. But, I want to learn some techniques. I want to like really improve the craft and everything like that as well. So that's basically where I've been doing a lot of that now. Because before then, I would just act. Hey, tell me what you want me to do. That's how you want it. Boom, I'm gonna do it. And that's how it would go. And I haven't had any like major complaints or anything like that. But like I'm still getting in. Like last year was good for me auditioning and acting. I did a lot of commercial work. I did a lot of some short films that haven't come out yet. Some couple series that we're still waiting on and stuff. So that was good for me. So that's why this year I'm definitely want to take it to the next level. Like I've got my credentials that I needed. Like I did. I basically got what I wanted out of the projects that I made. Because I made all these projects. Like I told you, hey, I want to give myself the role. I wasn't getting cast in anything besides just background. I wasn't getting cast in like lead role or head first here, this and that. I didn't get cast into those other like Beyond All. I didn't get cast in those things yet before I decided to say, hey, let me go ahead and do my own stuff. So
and now they starting to see it.
Yeah, and now they're starting to see it because now I've created my own reel. Like the majority of stuff in my reel comes from stuff that I've made. Like. Five Knives, Situationships, Wingmen, you got all that stuff in there, working with the circle with Tito or whatever, like that's how you gotta put yourself on. That's basically what I did. I was like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and, create my own stuff. So I'm getting what I want out of what I did. So now it's like, let me take it to the next level right now. Now let me show some casting directors, some new agents and stuff. Let me show these people like, okay, hey, these are the shows. They don't gotta know I made that shit, but hey,
All right. So before I transition to we're going to talk more about, directing and then comedy, I want to say something real quick. What do Eric Norton and Will Smith have in common?
Eric Norton and Will Smith
have in common. What do they got in common? When it comes to you. Eric Norton, Will Smith. What do they have in common when it comes to you?
Wait, Edward Norton?
Oh, shit. What did I say?
Eric. That's what I was trying to think. I was like, wait a minute. Edward Norton and Will Smith. They were definitely one of my favorite. They were definitely both of my favorite actors growing up. Mm-hmm. Edward Norton.
I totally butchered. This is hilarious, guys. I'm looking at it. This is how sometimes my eyes just be like, I'm looking at his name spelled correctly, and I'm just like butchering it.
Nah, Edward Norton, dog. He was one of my favorite actors I used to watch. He did a lot of my favorite movies: Fight Club, American History X, and then Will Smith was. Will Smith, the Fresh Prince, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, those are definitely two actors I was looking up to. Well, I looked up to Will Smith. Edward Norton, I just loved his movies. I loved to watch him act. Like I don't think I ever looked at. I don't think I looked at Edward Norton like, oh yeah, like he's white. I can't have his career, But
what is his effect on the screen? Because I don't even know. They don't really talk about him outside, Edward seeing, but a lot of his roles to me are they're very impactful, and that what we want.
I thought he was a good Hulk, I thought he wasn't. I thought he was a nice.
When it comes
Bruce
to
Banner.
superhero movies, people are so harsh.
I thought he was a good Eric Banner.
But I think when it comes to his roles, they all just stand out, and I feel like with him, he really puts his whole entire body and soul into it. So I just really want to ask about that because I know for you, it's very interesting when you say that because Edward and Will. If they could fuse, I feel like you have taken some mannerisms, some skills from both of them. Where it comes to you do have your comedic timing when it comes to some of your things, and you do have that intensity of Edward, where it's just oh, okay, I'll deck you in the face type thing. So I think that's pretty cool when you said those are your favorites. But
Edward Norton, he can even in the Italian Job, just when he plays the villain, he does it well.
Okay, comedy. So I know. We've done some comedy together,
yes.
And out of your skill set, you don't really have as much time for comedy. But let's say with you, who are your favorite comedians when you were growing up? With their styles and is there going to be more Kar doing a little bit more comedy realm stuff? What is he trying to do? Because acting, writing, directing, producing has your full attention. That's your baby. That's your bread and butter right now. But, are we going to see Kar doing some more comedy stuff in the future?
Yes, I want to get back into comedy because, I've always, that's something that I wanted to do too as well, but something that, I didn't really want to do. Everybody tells me, oh, you're funny, blah, blah, blah. But there's funny, and then there's like, there's around the way funny, then there's like you funny on stage, or you're a funny writer, or you just like haha, you like punchline witty funny or whatever. So Eric got me into stand up. My boy Eric, because
shout out Eric
he
Hardy.
met a comedian from Maryland. And the comedian got him into doing stand up, and then Eric invited me out to go do it, and I did it like, first couple of times. I was like, yo, this shit is cool. I think I finally got it because I would write jokes. I'd be at work listening to stand ups on Pandora, like on my old job, listening to everybody's thing, and I'm like, hey, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. So I started writing in my head, and they would just live in my head for like, months to a year before I finally did it and shit. So that was cool. So I definitely want to do more of that. And then, you invite, like, I felt like we did like a little fake troupe basically.
Yeah, I had to let y'all go because like out of y'all, comedy is my bread and butter.
Yeah,
so I was super serious. I was on my Nick Fury stuff, but I needed to let y'all handle y'all things first before I assembled y'all again. So eventually I'm going to make that call.
Yeah, because it's like, I'm not going to be having no set steady schedule for comedy right now, whatever.
That's okay.
But the thing is, I applied for like UCB right now and stuff too. So it's like I'm trying to, really get into it. Whether if I can't do stand up, but maybe I can at least transition it to like improv or sketch or whatever, or become a sketch writer or something like that or whatever. And then eventually get back into doing stand ups and stuff. Because now it seems like, stand up for me is like, if I got the time or the energy, or like, I feel like telling jokes right now, because like I've been writing, but I haven't been writing. I'm still like finessing old jokes to a little bit, or I still have stuff in my head. Like, you every time I'm around you be like, write it down. I don't even think I had those moments no more. Like I'm saying something and like you would call for you to say, hey, write that down. So
yeah, we've been busy, so I haven't been around you. Be like, yo, these two things you just said, please write that down.
Yeah, it's like I don't even know if like anything I'm saying is like write down a bull. You know what I mean? So it's like I gotta I want to get back in there when I know I'm like, when I'm ready, I got the energy to, like there are certain things that I see that get me hyped to do stand up, whatever. If I'm watching a live show, if I'm watching y'all do it, or if I'm watching one of my favorite comics on Netflix or something.
So who are your favorites right now?
My favorites, like overall, or just right now, or just like
currently, like at this very moment.
I mean, just the same old, like, Dave Chappelle's still my guy. I like Tom Segura.
He's good.
Tom Segura, funny as shit. I was just watching, who is the Asian guy on... his name escapes me. I want to say his name starts with Daniel.
Do you know where... Was he on a movie?
Nah, but he was just on... He has a special, and if it's like something obliterates America... I want to say his name is Daniel, but like he's funny as shit. His stand-up was funny. I like Eliza. I can never pronounce her last name. Elijah Sheeshlinger.
Who?
I think that's how you say it. Sheeshlinger or whatever. Sheeshlinger. She's dope, but she's funny as shit.
Oh, Ronnie Chang.
Yeah, Ronnie Chang. I said Daniel.
We're doing this live action thing. I don't want people to have to guess it. I was like typing this in. We're gonna get this.
So Ron,
he's good.
Yeah, I like him. He was funny.
I like him.
So I like Tom Segura, like Ronnie Chang, Eliza.
You really
Sheeshlinger.
Like that dark shit, like edgy people. I really like that because you don't like me.
Anthony Jeselnik. Like, you talk about dark. That was yeesh. But that was funny. I like. It's dark humor, and then it's like, because like I've always liked like toilet humor. I felt like, but even still as a kid growing up, I always censored it. Yeah,
you had to be.
I would censor it and stuff. Like if it was like the word was ass or bitch, I'd be like this. So then A said the B. I'd be. I remember like all the kids would hate it. They'd be like, man, if you don't say the damn cuss word, they'd be like, if you don't cuss, So but I've always just liked darker humor for some reason. It's kind of just how I write too as well, You're
just really brash and like you are like that. Like this is it. I'm not gonna try to like tone it down to make y'all feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's like I like because there are ways to do it or whatever, and and dark humor just isn't only where I live as well. I can do I could live in dad jokes. I can go ahead and do this. I can transition to that. Like I'm just not funny in one way.
Of course,
you know what I mean. It's like I got different type of like tones or genres and stuff with it.
So we talked about writing, acting, talked about comedy, directing. Are you like also, because obviously you're talking about the acting, getting into the classes, doing all those things. Are you going to be directing some more this year and like going forward?
I would love to. Because the thing is, I'm at a place where I'm getting to a comfortable spot where I do not mind letting other people direct my stuff. Or, you know, writing on my stuff. Like, you know, I'm getting some hands on deck to help me write season 2 of Wingmen. Like, you know, I'm writing with my boy Eric, and I'm writing with Diamond for season 2. I'm over here, you know, a project I'm working on. You know, I let this woman that I know, Jax, I let her direct it. You know, but I do eventually want to go ahead and direct other people's stuff, and I want to direct my own stuff as well. But it's just sometimes when it comes to my own stuff, I'm now getting to a point where I realize, you know, I'm open to seeing how somebody else would interpret it. You know what I mean?
You're allowing them to like.
I'm down to see, like, you know, because I've gotten great results from that, you know, because in my head I'm thinking one way, because I'm also not a film person. Like, I'm a film person, but I'm not the,
you know, trained and all that.
Yeah, I'm not the person that knows like the camera lenses from the millimeters to this and that. I don't know the type of equipment stuff or certain angles. I'm gonna be thinking of how it looks in my head. You know, okay, I want the shot to look like this and I want it to look like that. But then there's somebody else who will bring their vision on it. Like, okay, but how about if you thought of it like this? And I'm like, oh shit, didn't even think about that. I want to be able to bring that to other people's stuff. So I want to definitely do more directing. You know, I definitely want to direct some more of my own stuff and then direct other people's stuff as well. You know, I want to just be like multifaceted. I want to be able to do all those things.
All right, Kar. Well, little child, Washington, D.C. Oh, taste good?
Oh, you saw my face.
Yeah, it does taste good?
No, the Japanese matcha and green tea. You know what? It just needs honey. That's what it needs. It needs honey.
We go upstairs to get the honey.
It needs honey.
That journey all the way through high school, just like, I'm good in these things. That moment meeting Brian and just having like that, all right, this is what I'm doing. Get to the city, grinding, and you're here now.
Yeah.
Yo, we're just looking forward to more things. But before you go, what kind of gem would you want to give to people that, you know, they're doing their thing? You know, this is Dreams, Money, Goodbye. This is one of my favorite Drake songs. But like, what is it when it comes to following that dream, following that purpose? What do you want to leave to people to like help them on their path?
Don't be afraid to do what's right for you along this path. Like, I mean, you know, I feel like it's easy for us in this creative space, however you want to label yourself in it, whether it's filmmaking, podcasting, any of that stuff, you know, you're only going to get the results that you are kind of like, you know, creating for yourself. Like if you're creating this journey, you're going to get the results based off of that journey. And if you want results that work for you, you got to be on your own journey. You can't try to make your journey look like somebody else's in hopes of getting their results, because what worked for them may not work for you. So that's what I want to, you know, lay on to people right now. You know, don't get discouraged. Just keep going at it. And, you know, don't be afraid to say, okay, maybe I need to take some time off of this and then revisit it when I'm better right now. You know what I mean? You're literally in competition with nobody right now.
Well, there you have it, Kar. Let them know where they can follow you and all your projects at this ending portion of the episode, and just, you know, start it off. Like your Instagram, Twitter, all that.
You can find me, Kar Logan, on all platforms. That's KarLogan on Instagram and Twitter. And you could find my series Wingmen on I1 Digital's platform, Black and Sexy TV and Afroland TV. Situationships BET, and get ready for a lot of other projects got coming out.
Guys, we have it right here. This is your host, Skip from BK, signing off on Dreams, Money, Can Buy. See you guys soon. Peace.
Boom.
What's good? So, just listen to the end of Kar Logan and, you know, on the Dreams, Money, Can Buy podcast. So, you know, this was brought to you by Anchor. It's like a one-stop shop for everything that makes it easy to, you know, upload podcasts for the free. So they have all the tools to edit it. It has theme songs and all those type of things to just make your creation process just go along smoothly. It's something that I use, and you can also make money off of it, you know, with the audience that you garner from this. You know, you can have some ads pop up and allow you to, you know, get some coins in your pocket. So definitely check out Anchor if you are a person that wants to make a podcast of yourself and your platform, or what are you trying to do. So check that out when you get a chance. But like I mentioned at the beginning, Kar Logan, an exceptional actor, writer, director, producer, you know, technically an aspiring comedian, you know, when he gets a chance to. But yeah, just make sure you check out Kar Logan on all social media platforms, on Twitter and Instagram. So it's Kar Logan. Also check out Wingmen. You should be able to find Wingmen or like Wingmen web series or Wingmen NYC on Twitter and Instagram. And just stay tuned for that. That's his project. And also Situationships. He's also in the writer's room for that project. That's on the Scylla episode if you haven't listened to it yet. So make sure you keep in touch for those projects. Also, you know, follow your boy. Follow Skip from BK when you get a chance on everything. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You know, get it done like that. You know, stay in tune with what I'm doing. And be sure to follow Cove Alpha. You know, that's where we have this podcast and, you know, a few others along the way. And also have some articles to keep you in the know of a lot of things all over in different genres. So make sure you do that. Last but certainly not least, you know, if you've been listening to this podcast for quite some time, you know that Slept On Creatives is the entity, the production, the broadcast, audio, visuals. They do all that stuff that they help produce on their end. They do the editing, the post-editing for the podcast, the audio version, and the video. They kind of like get the stuff going, looking good too. So shout out to folks over there. Make sure you follow them on they're only on Instagram, so Slept On Creatives, and also follow them on YouTube for all of their visual products and projects. Whew, look at me, it's getting late, gotta get it out. So just make sure you stay tuned, and see you guys next time. Deuces.